State of Minnesota v. Derek Michael Chauvin is a criminal case in the District Court of Minnesota in which former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was tried and convicted of the murder of George Floyd. During an arrest on May 25, 2020, Chauvin was charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. The first charge carries a maximum penalty of 40 years in prison. On April 20, 2021, the jury found Chauvin guilty of all three charges. The trial began on March 8, 2021, at the Hennepin County Government Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was the first of two scheduled criminal trials stemming from Floyd's death. It was also the first criminal trial in Minnesota to be entirely televised and the first in state court to be broadcast live. Derek Chauvin was one of 4 officers of the Minneapolis Police Department involved in the arrest of George Floyd on May 25, 2020, on suspicion of using a counterfeit $20 bill at a market. He also served as the field training officer for one of the other officers involved. While Floyd was handcuffed and lying face down on the street, Chauvin knelt on Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. For part of the time, 2 other officers knelt on Floyd's back. During the final 2 minutes, Floyd was motionless and had no pulse. Several bystanders took videos which were widely circulated and broadcast. 2 autopsies found Floyd's death to be a homicide. At the time of his death, Floyd also had recovered from COVID-19 and suffered from heart disease, and had phenytoin and methamphetamine in his system. Chauvin was arrested on May 29, 2020, and initially charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter, making him the first white American police officer in Minnesota to be charged in the death of an African-American civilian. On June 3, charges were amended to include second-degree murder, specifically unintentional second-degree murder while attempting to commit felony assault. Chauvin was released on conditional bail on October 7, 2020 after posting a bond of $1 million. Court documentation provided that his release was supervised and would be forfeited if he declined to appear before a magistrate, refused to appear in court on scheduled dates, left the state of Minnesota without court approval, or had contact with Floyd's family. On August 29, 2020, Chauvin's attorneys filed a motion to dismiss the case, claiming that Floyd most likely died as a result of drug use and pre-existing medical conditions. On the same day, prosecutors moved to increase potential sentences for the 4 officers beyond the guidelines for all 4 accused, arguing that Floyd was vulnerable while being held down on the ground in handcuffs and was treated cruelly. On November 12, 2020, Judge Cahill initially ruled that Chauvin and the other 3 officers would be tried together. On January 11, 2021, Cahill reversed this ruling such that this case only involves the trial of Chauvin, separate from the other officers. On October 22, 2020, Cahill dismissed the third-degree murder charge, but not the second-degree unintentional murder and second-degree manslaughter charges. On March 11, 2021, on appeal, Cahill reinstated the third-degree murder charge against Chauvin. The decision came after the Minnesota Supreme Court on March 10 denied the defense's petition for review of a Court of Appeals decision requiring Cahill to reconsider reinstating the charge. On March 19, 2021, after considering that drugs discovered in the SUV where Floyd was detained were confirmed to contain his DNA, Cahill allowed the defense to present limited evidence from Floyd's May 2019 arrest. Disallowed a forensic psychiatrist. The prosecution wanted to testify that Floyd was acting like a normal scared person during the arrests, and dismissed a motion to postpone the trial in light of the civil settlement's publicity. Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill presided over the case. Cahill has been a judge since 2007 and previously worked as a public defender and prosecutor. On May 31, 2020, Governor Tim Walz announced that Attorney General Keith Ellison would lead the prosecution instead of County Attorney Michael O. Freeman. Freeman was the subject of protests and was later disqualified from working on the case. The prosecution team also included Matthew Frank, Jerry Blackwell, Steven Schleicher, and Aaron Eldridge. Chauvin was represented by defense attorney Eric Nelson. On December 22, 2020, prospective jurors in Hennepin County were mailed a questionnaire asking about their views on the criminal justice system, the police, and social movements. The questionnaire also asked prospective jurors to disclose how many times they viewed videos of Floyd's death and whether they participated in the George Floyd protests. On March 8, 2021, jury selection was delayed until at least March 9, pending consideration of the third-degree murder charge against Chauvin. Jury selection began